some books or something.
Good morning. It's
they don't add to it.
Thursday, the 4th of February. Is it 4th?
Yes, sir.
4th of February, Pasha Shemini. And we were talking about the Chad Gadya and the Echad Miyadea. So, they seem like childish type of things, right? But they're really very big significance to all this, and we're not exactly sure. We don't even know who wrote them. In fact, who wrote the Agada? It's not Menashevitz, and it's not Shoprite. Even though their Haggadahs actually, they have some good stuff in it, especially at the end. They have it, depending where you get the Haggadahs from in different languages. They have the songs, which is phonetically written out in Russian and in Yiddish. So let's take, for example, Echad Miyadeya. Who knows one? One is Shem. Two. What was on the Shnei Luchos HaBrit?
10 Commandments.
What is 10?
What is 10?
Number 8. It goes 8, 9. What's 10?
Counting down.
What's 10? 10 Diberot. Asara Diberot.
Didn't you just have it in Shnei? Did you ever think about that? Benny, you're 52 years old, 53 years old. Did you ever think about that same thing is in there twice? Right?
No, I didn't think about that.
Too busy singing.
Huh?
Too busy singing.
But the two lochot by itself is a significant.
But the significance is only because of the Aseres HaDibros. And we're saying that in 10.
So why?
So, an obvious question you can give, an obvious answer you can give, it's my own, I don't know if it's real, I don't know the real answer. I've asked the question, I haven't gotten a good answer, but there were two luchos, there were two sets of luchos. The first one he broke, the next one we kept. So, it's giving significance even to the first ones that we broke. So Shnei Luchos HaBrit is for the two that we broke, which should have been the real ones, but because of the egel, because of the golden calf, Moshe Rabbeinu broke it.
Something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it to us, but
right?
By his hand, by his like it was something. By itself is a significant.
Right. That's exactly the point. So it's significant that Hashem gave it to us. Now, here's another one that I haven't gotten a good answer. There's people just say it, and it's interesting. I always point this out.
After 4 cups of wine, what do you expect? Think normally.
Okay, so this is the question I was going to ask. How come we don't say the 4 cups of wine?
We don't make bracha on the 4 cups.
We give no significance in the whole Haggadah about the 4 cups of wine, other than making the bracha. Why isn't that one of the questions?
I think Rabbi Foxen started saying something.
Yeah.
You were here that day?
Maybe. Why don't we ask? How come tonight we drink 4 cups of wine? Now you could answer.
You see, the original Haggadah didn't have that.
No, in none of the Haggadahs. It's Manishtana.
Right.
How different is this night than any other night? And then we state 4 differences. By the way, it's a misnomer. There is no 4 questions. There isn't even 1 question. Children like to ask the question, or people like to ask a question, why do you say there's 4 questions, there's 5 questions? What's the 5th question? The first one, Manishtana, why is this night different than any other night? And the answer is that it's not a question. It's a statement. Manishtana, it's in Hebrew, a question is not ma. Ma is more of an announcement, a declaration of that you're wondering. Wondering. How different is this night than it's not a question. And then it goes on, it says, every night we eat chametz and matzah. Tonight we only eat matzah. That's not a question, that's a statement.
Lama, you could have said lama.
Right. It's not a question. But still we refer to it as questions because the entire theme of the Haggadah is
To awaken the kid.
to provoke the children to ask questions. Okay?
Let me ask you also, I think the part of what you're saying, why we don't make a bracha, a special bracha that we have 4 cups of wine.
No, we
The Baruch Atah Hashem that we drinking 4 cups of wine tonight. It's a mitzvah to drink. Should have a special bracha and also saying 4 cups.
that question is asked, and you could say that the question is whether it's 4 mitzvahs or 1 mitzvah. Is it
The mitzvah of just drinking wine?
is it a mitzvah to drink 4 cups of wine, and that's 1 mitzvah, or is there every separate one a separate mitzvah? But these are all good questions, and nowhere in the Haggadah does it talk about the 4 cups of wine. Now you could answer that the reason we don't ask it in the beginning of the Seder is because we haven't drank 4 cups of wine. So how does a child know to ask it? He hasn't seen it. But why isn't that a good answer?
Why? Because the whole thing you're saying, it's a statement, it's not a question.
No, because everything we're saying hasn't happened yet. So not only
Doing
in
it
the
as the Seder goes.
right, we haven't seen the Morah yet. We haven't seen the dipping yet. I mean, one dipping we saw, but we haven't seen the second one.
Sharon said the bitter herbs.
And we haven't. So obviously, we can't use that as an excuse that the child has not seen 4 cups of wine. Presumably, this child went to school and learned that we have to have it, or remembered from last year, and now he's here again. He's a year older, and he's making that statement. Go ahead.
Okay, question. So when you get to the first cup of wine,
Yeah.
and you make the blessing for the first cup, then the kid could ask, why'd you have that first cup of wine?
Well, the first cup of wine is because you make Kiddush, like every other Yom Tov.
I understand, but I'm saying that once you got to that stage of the Seder, the kid could say, well, why did we...
Right. So the kids are supposed to ask, and all through that's the purpose. Throughout the Seder, we do many things, and it's supposed to provoke, and we're supposed to encourage the children to ask questions.
What you're saying is the importance of to raise the children in the right way, to teach them in the right way.
Right.
That's our main goal should be in our life.
And the Haggadah speaks about it. By the way, we're not sure who wrote the Haggadah.
It's not in the Talmud. It's not. Does it mention anything about Haggadah?
I don't think so. But what's it called again? They say the Anshe Knesset. Excuse me. We say the Anshe Knesset Agdola. The people of that. There were a group of people who.
Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Tarfosh, they are mentioned in the Gemara, right? Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Tarfosh, Sharmasubim,
Bnei Barak.
Bnei Barak, Talmud came to question why.
Yeah. By the way, another cute thing about that story of Rabbi Kiva, they all were sitting, and they were because there's an argument immediately before that paragraph. There's an argument whether you have to say the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim. There's a mitzvah to talk about the Exodus from Mitzrayim, and there's an argument whether it's only during the day or even at night. So it's resolved that it's even at night, and that's why it immediately brings the story of these 5 rebbes who were sitting in Bnei Barak and talking about Yetzias Mitzrayim all night to prove that they agreed that you have to do it all night. And then what happened? And then all of a sudden their students come in and say, Rebbe, it's time to say Krishma Shel Shachris. So there's an allusion to the 4 children in the Haggadah. You know, the Haggadah talks about 4 children, Chacham, Rasha, Tam, and She'ene Yedeya, Lishel. So look at the word Shachris. You have a Ches for Chacham, a Reish for Rasha, a Tov for Tam, and a Shin and a Yud for She'ene Yedeya. Isn't that cute?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Mendy, you came up with this thing yourself, or?
Yeah, that I came up with myself.
So
Trademark it.
My wife's daughter Orit asked the question: how come we make a bracha on the matzah? We make a bracha hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Right? Yeah. It's not really lechem. It's not bread.
Matzah.
It's matzah.
That's what their bread. That time of Exodus. That's what their bread.
That was lechem only. That was the poor bread. They say a joke. After
poor bread costs $28.
Exactly what Dov is saying. By the time you spend money on matzahs, you're poor.
$28 a pound.
I know. But you know what? We bought for $10.99 a pound. They were selling matzahs.
After Pesach?
They were triangle. They weren't round. They were triangle. No, they were selling it matzahs from the Ukraine.
Ukraine?
Yeah, Ukraine. I mean, it's
100%.
They shipped it here.
But it's from Ukraine
From
to
Ukraine.
New York City?
Yeah.
Because the labor is cheap there.
Whatever. Labor is cheap here too.
Same scenario.
The people who are doing the matzahs there are a bunch of Russian women who they're paying minimum wage.
I hear some of those come make $2 million profit just for 6 months.
I don't want to get into it. It's very upsetting. Very upsetting. Anyway.
But you know something, Mendy? I'm sorry, bothers me because it said also in Pirkei Avot, you are not supposed to make money, Keter Torah. You're not supposed to.
Right.
This is.
I once asked, what's the maximum amount of money a person should spend for a mitzvah?
They say 1/5 of your.
Only 1/5 of your earnings.
Per year. In other words, you can't go for 1/5 per year.
Right.
You can't
Now,
go
what's the maximum amount of
day.
money you should spend on not eating? Let's say you're very hungry, and you're gonna die of starvation, and there are only two choices. You can buy a ham sandwich for $5, or there's a guy willing to sell you a kosher pastrami sandwich for an exorbitant amount of money. What's the most you have to spend on that kosher sandwich and not buy the ham sandwich?
I don't know. Never heard this.
Well, if you were faced with that, if you were whether you were dying of
So first of all, do you have the money?
assuming you are worth $5 million, and you're about to, the doctor tells you that if you don't drink, if you don't have a bowl of soup right now, you're going to die. So you have a choice: buying a tray for soup for $3 or a kosher soup. What's the most you're allowed to spend on the kosher soup?
You can't spend all your because if you spend all your money, you consider a dead person anyway. So I think you should buy the soup.
So Benny happens to be exactly wrong.
Exactly.
That's it. You're supposed to buy the kosher.
You're supposed to spend every last penny you own
on the kosher,
on not violating a law.
right?
Okay? To do a mitzvah, you only have to spend 20%. But not to violate a law, you have to spend
Anything.
everything.
Shomer nafshecha, you're gonna die.
Well, you have to have confidence, talking in God, that
He's going to let you live.
Yeah. So you can't. Not that I'm a big tzaddik, which I'm not, but for myself, I couldn't eat ham. You know, if it meant giving up everything in my life, I'm programmed already that way.
You know, in a concentration camp, they were serving them meat from the horse.
Look, if it's a question that you don't have kosher to save a life,
You got to do what you got to do.
you absolutely have to do it. It's a mitzvah.
No, they could eat a piece of bread or something.
No, but it's a mitzvah to eat to save your
You're
life.
supposed to lick the bones.
Right. Good morning.
Welcome.
Good
How you
year.
feeling?
Welcome.
How you doing?
It's in horse.
You know, till you get to that position, you know, you have to really be big tzaddik to say, I give all $5 million for a sandwich.
Right.
99.9% of the people, reality, they're not going to do that.
Well, we shouldn't be faced with that. Anyway, getting back to the to the numbers.
Got it.
So 1 is Hashem, 2 is the Luchos, 3 is the fathers, 4 is the mothers, 5 is the Torah, 6 is the Mishnah. Good to see you, Cantor. 7 is...
7 days of the week.
Now, all these things are very special, holy things, right? 8 is
Mila.
9 is...
9 is...
Choshech, or,
No.
9 is... 9 is what? 9.
The 9 months of pregnancy.
Shnei Luchos HaBris.
Right. So here's an obvious question. I've asked this question before. What's so special about that? Why are we mentioning it? The Goyim also have 9 months of pregnancy. Like, why is it in here?
Because this is it's a miracle by itself to have get a baby.
But everyone is
Creation.
unique to Jews. Everyone is unique to Jews.
Because
What is
because
9? Why-
You're continuing the life.
But tell me something about
Yeah,
9.
that's a good question.
What is it that's unique to Jews?
Hefachai.
For that matter, they could say any numbers. They could say
Hefachai.
you can pick anything that's in the world that has a number and put it in there.
That's true. Could come up with something.
So I'll tell you in a minute, but here's another one. What's 10? We talked about Aseres HaDibros. 11.
11 Kochavim.
What does that mean?
There's a star somewhere or something. I don't know.
You see, people, we say these things and we're not thinking. Like, what does it mean?
Yeah, we
11
never thought
stars.
about it. Listen,
Yeah.
after drinking for
Yeah.
you don't think about it. You just read it, you want to go to
So
bed.
the 11 stars is talking about the 11 stars that Yosef had a dream that 11 stars would come and bow down to him. And this is the beginning of the whole story of Egypt, that he dreamt that the other 11 members of the tribe, so it refers to the members of the tribe that are bowing down to him. This is not my pshat. This is the simple, plain, real pshat. It's not, something drush, medrash or something. It's talking about the tribe. What's 12?
12 Shavatim.
So we just went through it. Again, the same thing. And the other question is, why are we mentioning the 11 tribes? It was only a dream. Why are we talking about something that's a dream? We can talk about the 7 cows also. You know the old joke. They found the bones in Egypt a couple of years ago. They found the bones in Egypt, and they just couldn't determine whether it was from the fat cows or the skinny cows. From the Bible.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with that question? What's wrong with the question whether it was from the fat cows or the skinny cows? No, so listen. So the answer is, it was only a dream. So how did they find the bones?
That's only dream.
So the same thing over here. It was only a dream about these 11 stars. So.
But the tzaddik has a dream. It's not a real dream.
Tzaddik goes there. Kajbach Makayim. Yeah. Nevertheless, these are questions. So getting back to 9.
Yeah, 9 is important.
The reason there's many good answers given for why it talks about the 9 months.
A pregnancy.
So the Vilna Gaon gives or was it the Chassam Sofer? I don't remember.
There is a really, they talk about these things? There's a book for that?
There's no book specifically for this, but in different forum they ask different questions. So one of the best answers they give, I'll give you 2 answers, and then we're going to daven. The first answer is that only a Jew who keeps taharas mishpacha, family purity, and knows exactly the cycle of the woman, they know exactly when the 9 months are. So it's alluding to the business of women keeping taharas mishpacha and to count the days and the months, and that's how we know exactly where the 9 months are. Also,
But is it the doctor?
and also alluding to the fact that women who are not keeping whatever laws, they can have many men, and they don't know if it's this man and this man. They don't know if it's a 7-month baby or a 9-month baby. So only people who keep strictly to these things. That's one answer.
Wow.
But another answer they give is, there's a good morning. Yeah, there's automatically a class unless I say, but you're right, I mentioned that, I forgot to mention it to you. Okay? The other answer they give is when something, this is brought down in many places in Shas, that when something has been discovered already by somebody, the first person to discover something, the first person to figure something out in the Torah, whether it's secular or holy things, the first person who figures something out, that is difficult. Kolat cholos koshos. Everything the first time is hard. Once it's already been introduced to the world, even though you didn't hear it, it's automatically easier for you, for a second person to do it. So if Sony figured out a technology to do a certain thing with an iPhone, then independently that knowledge is already in this world, and once it's brought down in this world, it's easier for somebody else to pick it up. And we see that also brought down many times. Sometimes we don't understand pshat in something, and somebody can come up with it easy and sometimes difficult. You can come up with it easy because 100 years ago, the Rambam, or 1,000 years ago, the Rambam already asked this question and he answered it, so now it's been introduced to this world. So, the whole world is learning Daf Yomi. So the person who created Daf Yomi said Daf Yomi is for everybody. And some people say, it's impossible, I don't know it, I can't grasp it. So the answer is that once you knew it already, even if you forgot it, a person himself, once you knew something, I do this also. I ask sometimes riddles at my house, at my table, and I have somebody from my household there who I tell them, don't answer it, because I've asked this already, and I want people who've never heard this riddle to answer it. And they'll tell me, no, I never heard it. But I know that they heard it. They forgot it already. But once they had the answer in their head, now that they hear the riddle again, they'll come up with the answer, even though they'll promise up and down that they never heard this riddle, because it was already somewhere in their head that they didn't realize it. And also when you see somebody, maybe you don't know him, but then they want to start talking to him, and then you say, oh yeah, 40 years ago I saw you here and here. So that's the thing with the 9 months. Every baby, when he's in his mother's womb, is taught the whole Torah. Did you know that?
That's what they say.
Alan?
No.
But not non-Jewish babies.
I'm not sure. I think yes, and I'll tell you why I think yes. And this is also
Now, who's
accepted.
teaching every baby the Torah?
Eliyahu, a certain malach. A malach, not Eliyahu. A certain malach teaches you the whole Torah. So you knew it already. And then what happens when you're born?
You're trying to remember.
How do you forget it? You know what happens? You see this, that's right, Elliot knows it.
Yeah.
He gives you one of these, I don't know what this is called, a flick or something, right here under the nose, and that's why you have this indentation. And with that, you forget it. And by the way, there's a story, and this is documented. There's a story that a certain baby in Israel, this goes back about 40 or 50 years ago, was born, and he knew everything. And then they realized that he was missing this.
The line.
He was missing the line, and he had it right over here. And he was deaf. Because he turned. And it got him over here, and it took away his hearing, but his knowledge was there. So this is what it means, the 9 months. It tells us that we were one time 9 months learning Torah for 9 months, and we knew it all, and this is unique to Jewish people that they learned the Torah. I'm not sure about why even non-Jews have this.
At the Sheva Mitzvah Noach.
Oh, the Shev Mitzvah Noach. Very good.
They should
All right.
have,
Have a good day, everybody, and I'll see you all next week, because I won't be here tomorrow.